Hello there, good afternoon,
Hi,
Mr.
hi, Kavya. Am I audible?
Absolutely audible and visible and all set. I was just telling the audience that there is such delight in unboxing the premium products that come in the box, the Smitten box. So maybe it's time to unbox some new insights from you. So with that, over to you then.
Thanks for the nice words, Kavya. And we hope we kind of delight millions and millions of more of users with our boxes. Let me just put up the presentation and share it, and then I'll probably start. Hi, thanks Kavya, thanks Shiny for having me here. And I was hearing Pankaj, it was a very, very insightful session, definitely. And I think he brought in the nuances of online and offline very well, given that he's actually operating on both the worlds. So a little bit of a background of me and Smitten. So we started Smitten about four and a half years back. And today we work with almost about 500 plus new age D2C brands. And the idea always is how do we take these brands out there in the market to the right consumers and help them kind of traverse this whole complicated journey of online, offline, and finding the right set of consumer. We are a completely online app-based platform. And before this, I used to work with Google India, almost spent about a half a decade there. And primarily working on and kind of evolving and developing this online ecosystem. I remember back in 2011-12, we used to talk about 20 million smartphones, and that number has now surpassed almost 500 million. So a lot has changed in last 5-6 years, and so is brand building. And it was unimaginable for us to see almost like 1,000 plus brands getting launched every year in India across different categories and sectors. And just to kind of get into why is that happening, I mean, and this is a slide again, I think this was a study done by Kalari, a report by Kalari. I really like this way kind of they have represented it, and it's actually truly representative of what's happening in India. And if you see, interestingly enough, we are actually on an inflection point on 3 trends. So first is if you see the red line, which is typically your per capita consumption of FMCG products. As our GDP grows, of course, our per capita consumption will keep increasing. And if you compare ourselves to China or any other market, we typically have a lag of 6-7 years. But there is always an inflection point in every country and every market. And we're like kind of sitting very close to that inflection point. So where from a $500 a year per capita consumption will go to about $1,000 odd per capita consumption of FMCG products in a year. Similarly, what's also happening in the data space is with Geo coming in and smartphones becoming cheaper and cheaper, data being cheaper and cheaper, there's a complete surge in terms of how many people are actually there online and consuming data actively. So that's the green line you see. But also if you kind of layer it on another trend where you see our workforce is predominantly is kind of millennial. India is a young country, needless to say that. But what you would see is almost like 2/3 of the working population will actually be millennials. And millennials by nature are very experimentative and very aspirational. So when you combine these 3 trends together, you actually have a huge opportunity for many, many 100 crore, 1,000 crore brands being built in India, because India is being a very underbranded market. I mean, if you just compare our brand penetration or brand availability in a certain category to a developed market like a Europe or a US, will probably be at 10% of what that market would be, even if we have a huge population out here. So that's the opportunity we see. But however, given the opportunity, how do you navigate this world, right? I mean, not everyone is going to build a 1,000 crore brand. And there are, of course, the biggies, the Unilever, P&Gs, and ITCs of the world who are kind of watching it very closely and kind of also upping their game. And kind of now trying to kind of figure out ways and means to go directly to the consumer. So I think it's a trend that's kind of here to stay for the next decade. Where you will see a lot of interesting new age brands solving a particular consumer concern, coming in and kind of taking it to the next level. You will see a lot of effort from the large business houses launching new brands and being more relevant to the new age. And this is something which excites us every day at Smitten, because we work with 500 of them day in, day out. So let's kind of get into what's changing in brand building, right? And why are we saying that D2C is going to be the buzzword and it's here to stay. So just cut back to 2000. This is a news clip from 2015 where a news clip looked like this. I mean, 100 crore for a brand is a big milestone. And then it was all, if you see the standard brands, which kind of primarily led by offline, primarily led by awareness, which was driven through TV media and everything, touched the 100 crore milestone, whatever time and all that. And that was kind of a success metrics. Cut to today, you hear the news, like you hear a Mamaearth getting to 100 crore in about 3 to 4 years. You hear about Vadam Teas becoming a 100 crore brand, Wow Skincare, and kind of Boat. So these are kind of almost now inching towards becoming 500 crore brand. And these are D2C brands, which kind of completely took a different route than what the brands on the left side had taken during their growth journey. And if you see today, the last 1 billion valuation consumer company beauty brand was actually a D2C brand, Kylie Cosmetics. Of course, there was a bit of a celebrity power behind it, but primarily it's not because of the celebrity power, it's because of, again, the direct consumer communication and the relationship the brand could establish with the young millennials. So let's go a little deeper into actually what's happening, right? What's changing. So this was a traditional model of brand building. So you have a top of your funnel, which is we called above the line ATL. So you have your standard marketing funnel. I think a lot of us would have read it in multiple forums. This is a standard Kotler framework: awareness, consideration, intent, purchase, and then kind of loyalty after that. And there's a lot of money and effort gets spent in terms of taking the consumer down this funnel. Especially a lot of money goes into developing your awareness and consideration. And then once that is developed, then people kind of, let's say, walk into a store or whichever point the product is available. And there you kind of do, which is your bottom funnel, which is BTL. And there you have your in-store displays, there you have your promoters, there you have your shelf positioning and all those things. And both of this combined together pretty much helped you, if you're getting your act right in these two spaces, pretty much you have built a brand, which is anyway becoming 100 crores sooner. But look at what is happening today, right? I mean, there's both these two sides. So if you look at this whole awareness and consideration funnel, where a brand used to talk to the consumer, used to be very different. I mean, it used to probably be one screen where you would spend a lot of time in the household, not a single view. Maybe you're watching with your family, a few other friends are there. Then when you're kind of sharing a laptop or something, and then content consumption used to happen there. And now that thing is no more constant, right? Everyone is having a mobile, everyone is moving, and 85% of the content consumption today is happening on mobile. So if you as a brand, if you have a desktop website and if you haven't optimized it for a mobile experience, you are dead anyway. Because you're just catering to 15% of the audience and completely ignoring the rest 85%. So that's on the reaching part of the consumer. And now if you look at like engaging with the consumer, store is, again, I mean, which is further accentuated by the pandemic. The store footfalls are anyway, especially in the malls and all, were in a declining trend. Consumers are kind of now resorting more and more to the convenience of buying online. And now you just have to kind of marry both of them, like in an earlier era brands used to do. But it's not as simple as it sounds. And where with, if you see, and this is a very interesting way to look at your new consumer funnel in this D2C world. We say, forget about awareness, consideration, intent, purchase and all that. Your funnel now becomes connect, capture, and convert. So when we say connect, it's about kind of, you can now reach out to millions of users with just a click of a button, which probably used to take you about a year and a half earlier to get to maybe about 100,000 users. Now you can get to millions within like a span of a month or so. But while the connection has also been eased out, the biggest issue is engagement, because in the previous era, when you knew that, okay, if I'm on the shelf, the store has a certain walk-in, if I have got my shelf displays and everything right, I am going to get a certain amount of a view and attention from the user. And that's going to convert to sales at some point in time. But here you may be reaching out to millions, you may be connecting to millions, but you're actually really not interacting or engaging with them. So that is where your next funnel, so that's why the awareness consideration is now kind of merged to where you have to kind of connect to the user in a much more engaging way than you used to do earlier. Now, another capture is, of course, capturing the attention of the user, which is the intent part of it, and then finally kind of converting it to a commerce. So this is the new D2C funnel, so as to say, I would say. And what are the winning formula on D2C, right? And having worked with almost about 500 D2C brands and having worked with so many amazing founders, so some have been able to kind of scale it up, some have been literally struggling with their scale up approach. There are 2-3 things that comes out very clearly in terms of where you would actually win a D2C play. So first is what we see is you don't restrict who is seeing your product or who you want to kind of show, right? Because your reach today is cheap and you can actually do it in a much more cost controlled way. So just go out and put your brand out there in as many places as possible. Garner as many eyeballs because again, there's a lot of funnel dropout that happens, especially in a digital world. So you go and kind of do a massive reach. Of course, in a very cost-controlled manner. And that is where we have seen a lot of D2C brand initially becoming very hesitant, saying that, okay, I don't know whether everyone will buy or not. It doesn't matter. I mean, at this point in time, you're really not optimizing for someone to buy. You're really optimizing to reach out to people and get your word out there. Then the next phase is where you should actually be focusing a lot of your effort and energy if you're a D2C brand. You deliver your content and your brand promise and your brand story, and digital today kind of gives you the opportunity and flexibility to do that. Don't just deliver ads. Like previously, I mean, those TV ads, you would spend a lot of time hiring a creative agency, a production agency, and then you will buy the spots 10 second or 20 second or 30, 60 second, and your job used to be pretty much done. But today, when you kind of look at digital, your digital creative shelf life is very small. And the users generally get bored very soon seeing the same content again and again. I mean, you could, if every one of us would remember, we would have seen like a surf ad 20 times a day, but still not kind of be okay with it because you could kind of ignore and you could do parallelly whatever you wanted to do. But when you're a kind of a mobile, you are actually very leaned on into consuming the content, and you don't want to consume the same content again and again. So telling a story, the freshness of the content kind of matters really, really, especially when you are directly talking to a consumer in the online world. The next thing is, do not think that everyone you reach out to is your consumer, and it will take you a little bit of a hits and misses to figure out who your consumer segment is. And honestly, like digital gives you that data and that visibility where you can figure it out. So use the data. And Pankaj was also mentioning about the mining about 1.5 million data and making it more and more relevant to people. And unless and until you're doing that in digital, honestly, you will never build a D2C brand because your efficiencies are never going to kick in if you're like looking at every customer one at a time. So these 3 areas, I would say, you kind of focus on. And coming to the first point, right, like reach. So today, as I said, consumer is spending a lot of time on mobile, on the digital screens. There are a lot of large-scale platforms. There are about 1 billion plus searches happens on just Google search in consumer brand space. There are about 250 million people who actually consume videos actively every month on YouTube. There are more than 300 million people who access Facebook. There are more than 100 million people access Instagram. You all know this data, right? But while all these engaged users are there, it's very critical for us to figure out our kind of audience who actually initially you want to have a conversation. So, which there are a lot of targeting options anyway, you will be able to figure this out. But go for a full blast reach when you're kind of D2C brand. I mean, your objective should be at least to reach out 150, 200 million people and kind of have at least your little bit of a memory or a presence in that user set. The next is while you are reaching out, and yesterday I think was a very interesting concept that was introduced. So instead of a footfall, now you should look at a finger fall. While a finger fall happens, if you see, I mean, this is a very interesting data point. So you not realize it in a given day, you almost sift through about a 300 to 400 feet of content on your mobile. If you just count the number of scrolls on an average that happens and kind of just stitch it together, it will be about a 300 to 400 feet of content. So having the content out there is not going to solve your problem. You have to get your story right. You have to invest in also creating interesting short stories, short videos. And also you need to understand that every format, every digital platform works very different, and the same user behaves very differently across different platforms. I mean, I might be consuming a very different kind of a content on Instagram, but when I look at YouTube, it's very different. When I look at Facebook, it's very different. So you need to understand that and kind of adapt for the platforms. And once you've done that, the third part is, of course, doing the final kill, right? Which is figuring out your core audience and measuring and analyzing that data that, okay, who are the audience who are engaging with us? Who are the audience who are actually kind of spending time with my content? And who are the audience who probably might have the greatest amount of intent to kind of buy, right? And find your core audience and plan your media well. Because as I said, you would have that learning initially by kind of doing your reach campaigns, which media works really well for you in terms of engagement and consumer cohorts and stuff. And then finally, do not hesitate to spend on your creative and your communication, because at the end of the day, your digital lifespan, the consumer attention is even further shortened. Like, I don't know how many of us have heard the concept of moment of truth, right? Which is a concept popularized by P&G, that in the first 7 seconds, the consumer decides. Shiny is waving me for the timing. And so that was my last slide anyway. So I'll stop here. And if there are any questions, would be happy to take it up.
So one question, Swagat, before we let you go. So Manish Shinde asked me, we see that Estee Lauder recently used gaming to launch a product. And do you think women-centric gaming could be used as a tool to leverage cosmetic sales? Because number of women coming online is increasing. Gaming is increasing. Is it a good idea to put these two together?
Again, number of women coming online has been on an increasing trend. I remember it used to be about 20-25%. Now it has kind of surpassed about 40-45%. Anything today you do in online is a good idea. I mean, I think it's a very unpredictable, we call that term VUCA. It's a very unpredictable world now. So I think online as a medium, adoption has kind of shot through the roof. People have a lot more time and a lot more bandwidth to engage with brands. So any innovation a brand brings in, what's the worst that will happen? And that is the beauty of an online space, right? You can fail fast, and you can experiment. So yes, the short answer to that is yes.
Thank you. Sounds great. Thank you, Swagat. Over to you, Kavya.